So, deep bow, hello, and welcome to everyone who is here for this community meditation experience. I am your host, Bhante Varrapanyo, and right now we are meeting together on Discord. We are also live on YouTube Live, and we're coming together for a particular reason, okay, a particular purpose. And a good place to start is to be aware of your breathing right now. And we can also become aware of our seeing right now. And regardless of what we are doing or what we are thinking or where we've been or where we may be going soon, we can be aware of our breathing, notice it quite directly, quite clearly. And we can breathe in such a way that brings the mind home to the body so that we connect our mind with our heart. We connect our our intention to our body. Right now, we can offer a lot of non discriminatory awareness and attention to the body. And we do get distracted, and other thoughts and worries or things come up. Great, noticing them, but not getting involved with them. Coming back to the breathing, relaxing the body, feeling the breath in the body. So we fully allow ourselves this space to be present and attentive to our breathing, to our heart, to our stomach, to this practice of relaxing. Any fixation, any thought, any particular drive that we have, we notice that. Come back to our breathing and to relax. Whatever we notice in the body, to relax that, but also to be very aware of it. Not to shy away from giving our full attention to whatever we are aware of, especially in the body. Okay, so let's listen to a sound of the bell and allow this sound of the bell to really be the voice of the present moment and to be the voice of your sincerity, your presence, your wholeheartedness. So open up to the sound of the bell as an invitation to your heart, as an invitation to your gentleness and your awareness of what's happening right now. So I'm glad that a lot of people are here to practice meditation with me and to show up to our deeper intentions to bring wisdom and peace and benefits, blessings to ourselves. Um, and for me, especially, there's also an intention to share what I have, share my experience, share my heart, share my practice, and there's this kind of mutual encouragement that I want to have peace and blessings and freedom for myself. I want to transform my mind. I want to know about the truth. I want to have an experience of the truth in the here and now. And I also want to share that out to benefit other people and support other people in doing good deeds, in being more mindful and more able to let go of what they get stuck on, what they get confused by. So I had some inspiration that I wanted to share, and I wanted to emphasize something today about precepts. And we usually don't talk much about precepts in these events, in these community meditation sessions. It's a deep but very simple teaching about how do we bring the Buddhist practice or how do we bring meditation to our whole lives? How do we make this meditative living not something that is confined to sitting on a cushion or being at a temple or whatever it might be, okay? But that actually our way of meditation can be a way of life, a way of skillful living. And for Buddhism, we have something called these five precepts. So these are the five rules, we can say, to live skillfully, the five daily encouragements to live skillfully for someone who's on the path. And I find for me that these are very reasonable rules and um, precepts, and I try to bring them into my own life. And then the precepts or the rules for a Buddhist monk are even more, but they're in some ways they're all built on this foundation of these simple guidelines on how we try to live skillfully day by day, how we try to prioritize and emphasize like being a good person and what that means. And that's a really multifaceted kind of question. What does it mean to be a good person, right? Um, it's not so simple. And it can be easy that rules or guidelines for what we should do makes us act in a way that we shouldn't. So we have issues or we have difficulties, we don't follow the precepts perfectly, and then we beat up on ourselves or we try to repress a part of ourselves, right? We don't kind of let go of our self fixation, let go of this small constrained self, but we actually hang on to it through these rules. So these are guidelines for skillful living, and at the heart of them is the practice and the intentionality to reduce our suffering and to increase our compassion and our wisdom and our freedom in the most holistic way possible. So if you ever find that you're not meeting the standards that you've set for yourself, or you are frustrated and upset by your inability to do something that you want to do, there's a very clear teaching for that. You need to relax. You need to calm down. You need to come home. You need to take a bath. You need to refresh and restart. You need to let go and be kind and patient to yourself. And this is something I've been going through a lot recently, is that this feeling I want to control my mind. I want to control my life. I want to get to the point that I want to get to, and I can't. And I know I can't. I'm not in a position to do exactly what I want to do right now. I'm not in a position to control my mind exactly how I want to control my mind right now. And so I can become very frustrated about that. I can try and, fight and sprint and, meditate as hard as I can. Um, but at the end of the day, that's not going to work because I need to be patient. It's like telling a tree to force itself to grow. You couldn't. And you could add some kind of additives or chemicals or molecular biology or something, supplements, whatever it is. But when it comes down to it, that tree is going to grow year by year, right? Month by month, minute by minute, and there's only so much that you can do. And I think for myself, the best thing that I can do is to be patient, and in the face of these difficulties, to be compassionate and keep coming back to my intentionality and keep coming back to my contemplative approach to how I'm going to take care of this situation that I find myself in, to keep growing, keep developing, keep going in that direction. Not how I'm going to fix it, not how I'm going to force it, not how I'm going to solve it, but how am I going to keep showing up in a way that doesn't harm me, that doesn't make me suffer, doesn't make me stressed, doesn't make me worked up, doesn't make me out of rhythm. So I want to share these 5 precepts that we have in Buddhism to kind of give a simple framework to support that generally skillful living to bring into your life so that you can make use of these precepts to live a little bit more skillfully. Okay. So we'll go through these 5 precepts and we'll see if anyone has any questions or comments about them. And then we will practice some meditation together. Okay. So the first precept, the first Buddhist guideline for skillful living is the precept to refrain from killing any living beings. Okay? Refrain from killing any living beings. Do not kill any living beings. So, do you want to be killed? Right? Do you want to be squashed? Do you want to be, seen, and immediately a sense of violence comes about from a bigger, stronger being and then forces that upon you? Do you want that to happen? Um, no, right? So even though it might seem like a small thing to do to kill an ant or a mosquito or a spider or something like that, you are indulging this mind of to harm, to kill, to destroy. And it's not good. And a lot of times that mindset of killing is also encouraging a kind of anger, right? And a force to force yourself on the world to harm something or get rid of something. And that just doesn't work. We don't want to harm ourselves. We don't want to kill ourselves. But in a sense, when we see that bug, when we see that mosquito, we're also seeing the mosquito inside of ourselves in as many ways as you want to look at it. And to kill that, to harm that out of anger or fear is not something you want to cultivate, right? So I observe the precept. I remember, kind of make a vow to not kill any living beings, to not participate in the killing of any living beings. None of these are going to be followed perfectly, and you're not going to be graded except by your own conscience. Okay. And we want to uh, fuel that conscience with compassion and wisdom and patience and contemplativeness It's to be involved. It's not to be righteously absolute about this and that. It's to be empowering our contemplative way of looking at our actions and bringing that into all of our daily activities. So, observing the precept to refrain from killing any living beings. I would also say that this you want to incorporate vegetarianism into this. Okay, so what that means is not necessarily that you're not eating meat anymore, or that you're protesting outside of your local grocer, or you're showing up to the Thanksgiving meal and throwing all the things onto the floor and saying, what do y'all think you're doing? But it's that you recognize the unwholesomeness of the meat industry and where your meat comes from, especially things like hot dogs and all that. I mean, that's nobody should be eating that stuff. Okay. Um, so you can try vegetarian restaurants. You can recognize that disposition to just mindlessly buy meat when you go shopping or when you go out to eat, and just you slowly work with it. Okay, you recognize that to be more aware of your actions in a broader sense. Okay, not just mindlessly consuming. So refraining from killing any living beings and including that in how you consume, being aware of that. Okay? It's not to be perfect, but it's to be mindful and be more involved, more aware. Okay. So, has anyone, well, we'll go through all of them and then we'll see if anyone wants to share about something. Second, refrain from taking what is not given. So, any kind of stealing. Okay, any kind of taking what is not offered freely. Um, and this could also be looked at as kind of snooping around or getting involved in someone's business or prying or, um, kind of pestering to get something from someone. Don't take what is not offered, you know, and this is to be contemplative about, you know. Not to steal, not to take what is not shared with you or offered to you. I think there's something about respecting boundaries in that. And like for a monk, actually, two monks have 227 precepts, but only four of them are, if you break one of those four, you're no longer a monk at that moment. So all of the other precepts, there's kind of a ritual or a confession or certain protocols that we go through to purify our precept body, our vows, our commitments, if we break these precepts. But these four are to murder someone, and then to steal something of value. Okay, so like to steal something that could be brought up in a court of law. Okay. So that means that borrowing another monk's shampoo is not, stealing where you're not a monk anymore, or something like that, or using soap or plugging in your charger to a place that wasn't said, "Hey, you can use this." Some monks take this more strongly than others, but there's levels to all this stuff, So using someone else's Q-tip is probably not the same as stealing their car or stealing something of value that relates to them, taking something that's not offered. Okay? The second precept to be refrain from taking what is not given, not stealing from anyone, and being more aware of what's offered to you and what's not offered to you. Right? And some things are explicitly not offered to you, so you should not take those things. Okay? The next here is, and this is an important one, a really important one, the precept of refraining from committing sexual misconduct. Okay, refraining from committing sexual misconduct. So for monks, this is celibacy. our our practice is to refrain from sexual activity as a whole, right? And that's very difficult, but that's not what this precept is talking about. The precept of refraining from sexual misconduct is, for me, an awareness of the how strong of an energy sexual energy is. Okay, and so to refrain from sexual misconduct means that we are aware of the capacity for sexual energy to literally create life, but also to do a lot of harm. So, in that sense, to ourselves, to other people. So, in that sense, we need to be very, very careful. Okay. And sometimes this is actually translated as a misuse of the senses. So, not too much sensual pleasure. And you could also go at it that way. So if you're self stimulating too often, or you're prioritizing sense pleasure kind of constantly, you're overstimulating pleasure for yourself, then that could also be a misuse of the senses. But primarily, it's this really strong awareness of our sexual energy and being more and more careful and more aware of how we use that energy. Okay, how we make actions with that energy, whether that's going out or receiving in. Okay, so being very careful about everything that has to do with sexual energy, what you consume, what you do. Um, The next precept is to refrain from wrong speech. So, what is wrong speech? Wrong speech is telling lies. Wrong speech is harsh speech. Wrong speech is speaking in a way to defame, to be negative, to hurt, right? So, it's quite clear, right? Don't tell lies. Don't speak harshly. Be more aware of your speech, your actions of speaking, because all of these actions create a kind of how I like to think of it is a pattern in your mind, right? They're setting your neurochemistry up. So if you're running around speaking negatively in a judgmental way to everyone, well, who's actually going to be on the receiving end of all that judgment and all that negativity? You. Who else could be? Right? I don't like this. I don't like that. That person's like this. That person's like that. Well, at the end of the day, who's there with you when you are falling to sleep? It's just you. And those habits, those ways of thinking, those ways of speaking are there with you. So they can be positive and light and truthful and kind, or they can be harsh and negative and out of control. So being very careful with our speech, not telling lies, not speaking harshly, not speaking roughly. And a lot of this has to do with our intentionality as well. So, like with sexual misconduct, well, your intentionality is going to have a lot of relevance to if it's sexual misconduct or not, if you're harming yourself and harming someone else or not. If you're speaking harshly, or maybe you're speaking with power, but with you will actually want to love someone and support someone and care for someone. So it's not just, make a loud noise, you're bad or something, but it's to speak skillfully. Okay. And finally, I observe the precept from taking any intoxicants or drugs. Okay, refrain from intoxicants that cloud the mind. All right. So that's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Um, some translation is more like "do not become intoxicated," but really, what's the use of one glass of wine? What's the use of 5 glasses of wine, for that matter? I mean, it's you get sick, you get a headache, you're tired the next day, you make unskillful decisions. This doesn't apply to medicines. Okay, so taking medicines or something like caffeine is not so much what we're talking about here. But if you were drinking 2 Monster Energy drinks every morning before you go to the meditation hall, that's probably a problem. That's probably something to look at. That does sound intoxicating. Or if you take a sip of beer, are you going to become intoxicated? Well, no, probably not. But we have to recognize that we have to be very aware of how things affect us in a contemplative way, not in an absolute way, right? So does caffeine cloud the mind or put us into a fugue state? Not for me. I think not for a lot of people. But you could watch your caffeine intake and see if that is something you need to reduce. So, refraining from substances or using substances, especially with the intention to cloud the mind. So, when we go to alcohol or when we go to something like opiates or something like that to cloud the mind and dull the senses, that can become a very serious um, kind of suffering, habitual suffering, unskillful coping mechanism. All right, so the 5 precepts that we just went over here: refrain from taking life, refrain from, do not steal, do not take what is not offered to you, um, refrain from misuse of the senses, sexual misconduct, especially. Okay, uh, sexual misconduct, and refrain from wrong speech, that is harsh or divisive or lying speech. Okay? This is all a work in progress. This is not, we're not setting up these rules so that we can judge each other. We are taking on these precepts so to guide our way of living, to be more ethical, more virtuous, more contemplative, more skillful. So there's not really any place for judgment here. It's more like these are tools to bring awareness itself into our life, presence itself into our life, without a God or someone who's going to judge us. And what's going to judge you? Well, cause and effect. You need to be aware of that. You need to be involved with cause and effect. You need to know about cause and effect. And these are almost like kind of way to become quite a bit more aware of cause and effect in your life, just by being aware of these guidelines for how you work with a lot of things that come up every day. So, any questions or comments about any particular precept, or any questions about the concept of these precepts and kind of using them? Do you have any questions about that? You can ask on YouTube if you're over there. Let's listen to a sound of the bell. And one of the ways that we can work with these precepts and make use of them is we actually make a promise to ourselves, and we make a promise to our practice community that we will follow those precepts, that we will stay with them, that we will work with them. Just make that in our heart, like I'm going to continuously try to work with these guidelines and these intentions in my life. And that way, instead of finding yourself in this place that's similar to, like, you want to become more physically fit, you want to go to like, go be stronger, know how to run faster, longer, whatever, and then you look at your past week or what have you, and you say, oh, I haven't been to the gym, I haven't been sprinting, I haven't been doing this, I haven't been doing that, and you feel, kind of hopeless and discouraged. So instead of doing that with meditation or with our spiritual path, oh, I didn't meditate today, this, we can look to our precepts. We can remember our precept body. Okay, I am being skillful with my speech. I am being careful about my sexuality. I'm not killing. I'm looking at how I consume ethically, not taking anything that's not offered to me. I'm being careful about intoxicants, things that intoxicate my mind. It can also be media, could also be forms of media that intoxicate the mind. So it's just to be more aware of what we're taking in. Craig, you have a question?
And I do eat meat, but some habits are so difficult to break. And I tell myself I want to eat less meat. It's just so difficult.
Yeah. Thank you, Anastasia. So this is something that we all kind of are going through, right? We're meat eaters. We want to get a hold of something. We want to tear something up. It's something that's in our DNA, and that makes it all the more potent to work with it. That makes it all the more a rich place to offer our intentionality. Okay, so you just keep coming back to that intentionality, and you keep working with it. Pigs, cats, dogs, chickens, uh, deer, all of these animals are sincere. All of these animals are real. They have emotions, they have feelings. Cows, um, they don't want to die, they don't want to be hurt. They love their children, they love to spend time with their children. Um, it's a real situation that these animals are in. It really is. I remember we read a book um, here in the Discord that was, you could call it vegan propaganda, but we read a book that was like this story of another world, another place. And it was a world where animals were living their lives, okay, and were not being tortured and slaughtered and holocausted and, just devastated by human beings all the time. And all kidnapping, all kinds of horrible things. This wasn't happening in that world. And then these two children some kind of fell into a magical portal and found themselves in this world with these animals that could talk, and where they weren't being, holocausted by human beings. And the children started to tell the animals, and this kind of communication started to take place, and it was very emotional, you know. Um, just I mean, for me, I imagine like a puppy or, um, any. I've had puppies and cats and dogs and things like that. And if you really spend the time, you develop a relationship with them, that's your loved one. That's someone you care about. It's not even the same species as you. And that animal also loves you a lot, cares about you a lot. So when we look at the animal world, I mean, these aren't different species. These are the same species. These are children and mothers and parents, and and look at what's happening. So we just kind of bring our intentionality and our sincerity to that place where there is that primal drive and that desire, and we step back just at that moment. Um, a big thing for me is an awareness that once you eat, you're not going to feel that way anymore. Okay. So when you're full, for most people, there are some people who have eating condition or eating disorder where they never actually feel full, where food never actually disgusts them. But for a lot of people, you eat and you're full, get food out of my face. And I've definitely found when eating like meat off the bone, things like that, when I'm hungry, eating it all up, chewing it all up, yummy, tasty, tasty. And then as I start to get full, I look at this pile of bones and sinew and, um, veins and blood and everything like that. And it's really unpleasant. It's really disgusting. So there are a lot of different angles to work with. But just try to come back to the intention you already have to do it less and to be more mindful about what it is and what's actually taking place when that happens. There's no consent going on. I mean, it's intense and it's dark and it's primal. We do have that part of ourselves inside of ourselves, and that's okay. We don't need to reject that or refuse that or say I can't be authentic with that in me, because you can be. But we keep just showing up to it in a warm-hearted, a wholehearted, a sincere way, contemplative way, and we work with it. It's all about consistency. These precepts are all about our consistency and our sincerity and our intentionality. Okay. Hope that helps, Anastasia. And definitely, you can go to vegetarian restaurants. If you are someone who eats out and that's a part of your diet, that's a part of how you eat, then one of the ways you can at least understand that, um, one of the ways you can understand that like vegetarian food is good, right? Can be good and is good, is to eat out at a vegetarian restaurant and enjoy. We have to practice in such a way that we enjoy it. There's no spiritual life, there's no spiritual practice if we're not doing things that if we are not doing things that bring us joy and peace and nourishment. This isn't a fight or a struggle. We're not building up. This isn't Rocky 6 or the next Rocky movie where we're building up to this struggle, this big fight. It's our wonderful, joyful, everyday, ordinary lives that we're having a deeper and more meaningful relationship with. And that's the whole spiritual world, is to support that. And moderation, consistency, eat less meat. Just approach it like that, but eat more good vegetarian food. It's a good place to start. Okay, so Craig says, I know I'm not supposed to judge, but I've been incredibly angry about a couple family members stealing and then lying about it yesterday. I'm not sure how to let go since the trust is gone. Well, um, Mother Earth is going to take back everything that she has offered us, and Father Time is going to witness for himself the dissolution of whatever we hang on to, whatever we are fixated on. So you've got to kind of be patient with the situation and bring that wisdom to it. Um, Whatever I have, I'm not going to be able to keep or to hold on to. You can even see it as people doing you a favor. You know, they're taking things away that you don't really need, that you don't really require to have happiness or to have joy or to have peace. And so, um, whether it's from a store or whether it's from you, you just accept the imper imperturbability, imperturbability. What is that word? Imperturbable. Um, the imperturbability of your awareness itself. So that's incapable of being upset or agitated. So if you can come home to your breathing and to the body and to the present moment, there's just this space of opening and releasing that is to free you from, kind of self-stimulating that inflammation. People are going to do all kinds of different things. We can't really control it, but we can respond to how we react to it, okay, in a wholesome way, in a gentle way. Okay? Why do people do things that cause them to suffer, that cause us to suffer, that cause others to suffer? It's a simple answer: because they are suffering, okay, because they are going through difficulty. Why do people steal? Because they feel in need. They feel they are striving for something that isn't there, that they don't have. They don't have the good conditions to be in a place like this. So when you get stuck in that kind of thinking, negative thinking about other people, um, I think it can be really nourishing to come back to that place of just awareness itself, breathing itself, and also a gratefulness of all the conditions that you have right now to be at peace, to be safe, right? To be warm, be in community. I was listening to someone recently. They were talking about how when someone gets worked up, when we get stressed about something, when we get stuck in something, and then we try to fix it or solve it or get involved with it, the only thing that you're actually going to do is make your brain worse, make your situation worse. So let it be, right? Have compassion, have a wisdom about why unskillful people act the way they do, because they're suffering. We have this like I don't know if it's animalistic or primal push to judge and to punish. No one needs to be punished. How about that? Not a single person on the planet needs to be punished. How about that? And so, what does that mean? If you can take that leap, well, it means there's not a single part of yourself that needs to be punished, that needs to be blamed, that needs to be shamed, that needs to be cut off. Okay. But we do have that kind of karmic energy from our past as hunter-gatherer primates to judge and to fight and to it's kind of bloodlust. And that's okay, but it's not necessary. The practice of detachment, yeah. But not to reject that person or that situation or your capacity to respond to it in a skillful way. Don't throw it away, but just be uninvolved with it. You can show up to it and be uninvolved with it. But a lot of times, we just need to come home to ourselves. We need to give ourselves the space to be uninvolved and to heal ourselves and nourish ourselves in the present moment, and just to be at peace. And in a lot of cases, that's the most that we can offer. It's certainly a valid way to offer out and to share out, coming home to ourselves. So at this time, let's practice some meditation together. Meditation, just like this moment by moment coming home. Okay. First thing, find that meditation position. We right off the bat, we bring some intentionality and sincerity to the present moment because we actually adjust our body for the purpose of meditating. So, comfortable and stable position for your body. Start with that. As you find, as you start to find a position for your body that is somewhat stable and comfortable, can allow the body to become more still, settled into whatever position you're in. The body being still, somewhat still, might need to lean against the wall or lay down, but the body being somewhat still while you are also aware is a curious kind of situation. So start to notice what it feels like in the body to be as still as you are right now. In any meditation practice, the breath is our pathway. So if we want to continue practicing, it's just like if we want to continue living, continue breathing. And notice the experience of having a body right now. Be curious about what kind of experience is going on in the body at this moment. So it's as if we are looking at something that we feel quite connected to, but we don't actually know something, we don't know so much about it. And the breath is this kind of constant connection. Like, wow, well, there is really this really deep, true connection to the body right now. Now, if we find ourselves to get in this kind of condition, in this kind of space, and that there are a lot of unwanted or kind of ruminating thoughts that are coming up, I recommend that you can breathe a little bit more deeply. You can adjust your way of breathing so that there's not so much space for questioning. There's not so much space for commentary or just that inner dialogue, but it's more like you're breathing in such a way that's really involving you, really breathing in such a way that brings the mind home to the body. And as you breathe in deep, feeling that awareness and that presence coming into the body, and as you breathe out, really deep willingness to relax and to accept and to free and to gentle, to soften. It's not so much that we're getting this meditation thing going, but it's more like we're practicing at this moment. Breathing in, we are really aware. We're truly aware of the body as it is right here in the present moment and curious about it, feeling it. I can feel like a pressure point in my right ankle and left ankle from the way that I'm sitting right now. I can feel some pressure there. So that's a curious to look at that and releasing, relaxing. And our breath is our way of doing that, our way of being in relationship with ourselves right now. But we can practice in such a way where when the mind wanders, when we get into doubting, when we get into questioning, ruminating thoughts, unwanted experiences, or our reactivity to a certain feeling, we come back to our breathing. And then it's like this self soothing, this breathing in aware. And then as we breathe out, we really relax any of the tension in the body, any of the tension in the mind. We give ourselves the rope. We kind of let out the rope. We give ourselves the space to relax that tightness of thought, to release that tightness of thought. And a lot of people they do meditation by listening to, you know, 250 hertz music or sound singing bowls or water running or kind of guided meditation. All this stuff is fine, but I would encourage you right now to practice a kind of really just holistic and grounded, aware of your breathing in your body and using your breathing in your body as your singing bowl. And don't allow that to be something that constricts you. So, in the comfort of your home, in the space that you're in, well, maybe what you need to do is stretch while you're doing this. Okay, this isn't some kind of uh, tantric, sit still, focus on your breathing, and aware of your body meditation. Find what you need to do right now to be aware of your breathing and aware of your body, and stay with that and stay in relationship with yourself. Stay with that practice of breathing in and truly coming home to the present moment, being aware of the present moment, touching that, even if it's only slightly, even if it's only for a moment, to really feel the present. This gift of exactly what's happening right now. And a lot of us are safe. A lot of us are warm. A lot of us have a healthy body and healthy mind. A lot of us have people that care about us. So it's a very kind of sacred and precious situation. So breathing in deeply in such a way where we are fully aware, we come home. And then if there's any particular ruminating thoughts or situations or feelings in the body that we're stuck on, as we breathe out, we're aware of them. As we breathe out, we're willing to relax and untangle and let go of those entanglements. Allow the sound of the bell to invite you deeply into your practice. It doesn't need to work. It doesn't need to not work. Just breathe, be aware, relax. So at this time, we have a few moments where if anyone would like to ask a question or share their experience, then that is possible. Today we emphasize about the 5 precept. Don't kill, don't steal, be very careful about your sexual activity, be very careful about your speech. So do not speak roughly, do not lie, do not speak harshly, especially towards yourself. And 5, refrain from intoxicants. Okay, refrain from those things to cloud your mind or to dull your mind. And then we have our mindfulness practice. Okay, and this practice of mindfulness is meant to be a joy. It's meant to be an entry point for us to heal. And we don't need to make it into something. Well, I'm muted. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I was muted on Discord. Well, I was going over again that we talk about the 5 precept. So we emphasize that today. Um, please feel invited to look at it again. Make sure you know about it. And we also emphasize the mindfulness. Okay, so to be aware of what's happening here and now, the breath and the body, breathing in to become aware, and breathing out to relax and to smile. And we can bring don't make your meditation practice or your mindfulness practice to be some kind of, lock yourself in the closet. You bring your mindfulness to going for a walk. Okay, you bring your mindfulness to the vegetarian restaurant. You bring your mindfulness to looking on Google Maps and seeing if there's a Buddhist temple in your area. Maybe you can go to visit, check it out, right? That would be interesting. Especially you bring your mindfulness into nature, go for a walk, breathe. This is the practice, and it's all about consistency. We keep showing up this way, and our life becomes a meditation. This kind of gathering, going to the Buddhist temple, even going for a walk with mindfulness, is bringing us to this point of realizing that our life is our meditation. And how we live our life in such a way where we have joy and happiness and peace, gentleness, patience. This is the greatest freedom. And we all have our opportunity to live that way, to practice that way here and now. And that's such a joy. That's so precious. So much to be thankful for. So much to appreciate. Okay, so I think we'll leave it here for today. We'll wrap up here, but let's sing a couple songs before we go. Anushka, you've got your songbook with you. You've got your songs in front of you. What's that? You've got it if you scroll up? Okay. So let's go with I have arrived, I am home, in the here and the now. That's going to be the first song for us to sing. And I put that in the Discord chat. I'll put it on the YouTube as well. So please try to sing along. We'll sing it 2 times, and the first time you can listen and get the rhythm. I'm not a musician, so the rhythms just kind of goes the way it goes, but I'm sure you can follow along if you like. Okay? I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I am solid. I am free. I am solid. I am free. In the old ultimate I dwell. In the ultimate I dwell. Okay, so the second time, so more people can follow along. You've got the rhythm. And please understand, this is the full Monty. Okay, this is a neuroscience. You feel tired? Well, that's okay, but you don't need to settle for just that. Okay, I have arrived, I am home in the here and the now. Okay, feel a little bit depressed, feel a little bit worried, concerned, that's okay, but you don't need to settle for that. I have arrived, I am home in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free. Declare it. But we do so in a way of happiness and joy, okay, and play, not any kind of force. So please sing along with me if you can. All right? I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I am solid. I am free. I am solid. I am free. In the ultimate I dwell. In the ultimate I dwell. Okay, wonderful. Great job, Anushka. Anastasia, what's your song request? You've got your songbook in front of you? What song should we sing? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, what is it about? Oh, um, okay, Cloud in the Mountains. So that's going to be, let's see. Yeah, the hand motions. Solid as a mountain. Okay, so we'll do this 2 times. And the first time, if you don't know it, you can listen along. The second time, you can sing along. But if you are skillful, then you can try to sing along the first time. And I'm glad everybody can see those lyrics on Discord. And there's another set of lyrics, Anastasia, so you can look at those. All right. So you follow along with the hand movements is pretty simple. Everybody should be able to do that, even if you don't have the lyrics in front of you. Excuse me. Then you can join. You can join with the hand movements, and I'll put the lyrics in YouTube as well. Yeah, this is definitely a sweet song. Okay. And I like to take a deep breath before starting. Okay. Oops, I need the lyrics too. Okay. Breathing in, breathing out. am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free, I am free, I am free. Okay, one more time, everyone now, and don't forget to enjoy your deep breathing. When we sing and we open up like this, then there's a lot of depth that can come to our breathing, and please do enjoy that. Okay, here we go. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free, I am free, I am free. And we can do jazz fingers, jazz hands to show our happiness. Yay! The power of smiling. Okay? Power of singing songs and being happy. Yes. Yes, yes. Thank you. Okay, everyone. So we will bring our session to a beginning. Every end is a new beginning, and every beginning is a new moment for happiness and for a smile. So we can all bring our hands together and make a deep bow to each other and to this practice and to this path, and I think especially to this really wholehearted and deep intention that we all share to continue on this path and to plant seeds of happiness and patience and love wherever we find ourselves. Okay. Thank you for all being here with me. See you soon. Bye bye. And all of you YouTubers, especially, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your smile. Subscribe to your smile. Okay. Bye bye.